Welcome to the France 24 Observers. This show is based on our network of observers. They're ordinary people who tell us what's going on where they are and send in photos and videos to document it. We check everything here in Paris and bring the best to you. We begin today in Ivory Coast with an update on a story we first brought you earlier this year. It was at the height of the fighting between rival presidents Laurent Gbagbo and Alassane Ouattara. The country was at a standstill, and residents of Abidjan, the commercial capital, were suffering, not just from the violence, but from shortages of food and power, and rubbish that was building up uncontrollably. Ouattara won, and one of the first things he did was order a big cleanup. Thousands of Ivorians pitched in to help, but the problem is many of them still haven't been paid. They worked hard to make the city shine, and they feel cheated. We head to Abidjan with one of our oldest and best contributors, Souleymana Sanogo.
Throughout the war, the rubbish kept piling up in Abidjan, and it got even worse after the fighting ended. Alassane Ouattara called for the city to be cleaned up, and several companies came forward to offer their services to help the government clean the city. It worked. The city was clean again. The government kept saying it was paying the people who were doing the cleanup, that there was no problem, that there was enough money to pay them. But what the ministers say on TV, that's just the official version of the truth. Out on the streets of the city, you could see the street sweepers were miserable. They had no money. And then we heard that some of the companies who'd done the cleanup had disappeared. They'd taken the money and run, without paying the workers. The bosses, the ones who signed contracts with the government, were keeping their cash instead of paying the workers. Some of the street sweepers haven't been paid in 4 months, and now they're on strike. They say they won't work without pay anymore, that it's just not right. They worked in the dirt and the dust for nothing. They got screwed over. They got conned. I just hope we don't go back to the situation before, when people had to take care of their own rubbish, to put it out on the street themselves.
After talking to us, Sanogo put us in touch with one of the unhappy street sweepers. We'll call him José, and here's what he had to say.
I never wanted to be a street sweeper. I used to run a cafe, that's what I did for a living. But when the crisis came, everything was looted. I had nothing left, and I couldn't just sit at home with my parents. So I said, I'm going to get a job as a street sweeper to earn a bit of money, to put something aside so I can go to night school next year. It's very hard working in the dust. You get up, then from 6 a.m. till noon, you're in the dust. You work, so you'll get paid. If you work hard and then you don't get your money, you can forget it. Just forget it.
Next up, a look at some of the images sent in this week by our observers. Our first stop is Tripoli, Libya, with Omar Reji. It's been a month now since the fall of the Gaddafi regime, and Omar has launched a campaign to disarm the residents of the city. It's not fighting he's afraid of, but celebrations. To express their joy, Libyans have been firing their rifles in the air, even in densely populated areas. It can be dangerous. Several injuries have been reported, and even one death. So Omar made this video, warning his fellow Libyans of the dangers of shooting in the air. We hope his message gets through. Our next stop is Chelyabinsk in southwestern Russia, with environmentalist Maxim Yaushev. He tells us that last month his city was covered in a strange orange smoke. It came from a leak on board a freight train. Bottles containing bromine somehow came open. That's a substance that is highly toxic. The authorities first said only a dozen or so bottles had been damaged, but Maxim says it later turned out nearly 6,000 bottles came open. According to official figures, around 50 people were hospitalized in the incident. Next to neighboring Ukraine and a group of teenagers who apparently have no fear. They decided to climb the Moscow Bridge in the capital, Kiev. It's 119 meters tall, the height of a 35-story building. It took them just 12 minutes to make the ascent, without any equipment, and one of them was wearing just sandals. Our last stop is in Tokyo with our observer Lee Chapman, who took these photographs. They show a space that is bright and cheery, but actually a cemetery for pets. In Japan, when your cat or dog passes on, you can choose to have them cremated and then visit their ashes in a special shrine. Lee tells us that strolling around the cemetery is very relaxing. That's it for this week, but you can continue to follow our observers online. Check out our website for their latest reports, our Facebook and Twitter pages, and our iPhone app. See you next time, here or online.